Hey, this is Deborah Atkinson. You're listening to Fitness Marketing Masteries, Voice for Fitness Professionals podcast, and this is another very special podcast, and I have a very special guest with me. Erin Carson is here. She is co-owner and operating manager of RallySport in Boulder, and it wasn't long ago I had another friend from Boulder, so you can tell I'm a little homesick, and I still think of Boulder as home. So in all of this social and physical isolation, that's where my heart goes. But I also go to some professionals that I respect and wanted to consult with Erin. And she, I want you to know, is probably home of many of the trainers that I also love and respect. But this is also, she is trainer to some of the world's greatest endurance athletes, if not America's athlete sweethearts, at least in my opinion. So, Erin, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Deborah. It's always so exciting to spend time with you because you inspire me a ton.
Yeah. Well, back at you. So, all right. So I'm going to ask some of the obvious questions, but what's the Corona fitness climate in Boulder right now? And so I should probably say this is, as we record live, it's Saturday, March 21st.
Yep. We were shut down, all the gyms, which I never really like to think of RallySport as a gym. I like to think of us more as a club because it just feels to me in the nomenclature that club feels a little bit more like community. So not only have we lost the place where we lift weights and we do cardio and we do classes and we swim and everything, we've lost our daily visits with our familiar faces and our friends. And I know everyone who's listening to this understands exactly what I just said and the feelings that we're all feeling. So we're on day 5 now, and it's still a little bit surreal. I think the way that I've described it, that if we were all living in a movie, I would never want to watch this movie. This is a horror movie, and perspective, comes and goes in waves because of the severity of this killer virus that is harming people and taking people from us before their time. And that's when that becomes real at the front of your brain and you can actually get your head around that, some of the silly things start to get smaller. And so depending on our ages and whatnot, we've all been through different things at different phases of our life, but so many of our young people, our young trainers, our young staff, this is massive for them, and this is their first big event as an adult that's so life-changing. So, I can't get my head around the fact that we have another 5 or 6 weeks to go, and I think just because of my understanding of the human body and my limited understanding of this virus, it probably, I think, will be even longer than April 30th for us. And I think different states have different stages that we're all in on this day here today. So it's still very, very surreal, Deborah. And but I'm not burying myself in a hole, and we're going to keep. I know we'll come out of this stronger and whatnot. It's just incredibly sad.
Yeah, respectfully, everything you just said, I think very real, and you increase my awareness of those younger trainers who really are getting a real rough initiation into their first of the real world. What are you doing as RallySport? Obviously is a face-to-face personal training and fitness business. What are you doing in the online world? Like so many are trying to get their business there or serve customers or clients. What are you guys doing?
Well, I think that Tim Ferriss probably has served to be an amazing. He's the first one when I was listening to his podcast a bunch of years ago, who really started planting seeds in the ability to have a bigger audience than what was right in front of you for me. I can remember the moment being on a bike ride, riding my bike down 36 here in Boulder, heading from Boulder to Lyons, and I almost stopped on my bike because what he said was, don't let money drive you. Let the ability to serve others drive you. And when I heard that, and I really started realizing that through the work that I was doing as a trainer, as a strength coach, for some of these really exciting athletes that I have this opportunity to be around and play a role in their performance careers, I really started realizing that I think what we had and what we do deserves to be listened to, just from the perspective that we can keep people running and swimming and biking and quite frankly, from my perspective, and I know we've had this conversation, also golfing and tennis. It's all about beautiful movement. And it drove me from the inside out that I wanted to have that bigger audience. I wanted to be able to impact more people because people were coming to me asking me questions. And so I started the EC Fit app 4 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago. And that has just been my opportunity to share our method of training with people who aren't right in front of me. And, it was never about the money, but it's been also a little bit of income that has helped me be able to save to do even more in a cooler, more quality-based platform, to build my social media presence and give away a lot of free stuff, a lot of free information so that I could be known as somewhat of an expert or someone who knew what they were talking about. And then I had to live up to that and keep pursuing a lot of continuing education and whatnot. So this willingness and wanting from within me to do more and have more of an influence probably leads me to perhaps be in a better position now than the people who are going, I should probably start thinking about something like that. Because it takes time and it takes patience, and money isn't enough of a motivator to get you there. So, the money will come if you're driven to serve. And that's, I think, the base of me and the people I'm around. So.
And because I love you guys so much, I'm still on your email list, right? So I've been away, right, for 9 months now, closing in a year actually. But you and Melissa, your co-owner and partner, sent out a special email, I think it was yesterday, and, it's all about really how you're supporting your salaried staff, taking care of them, and your customers right now. Share a little bit about that to listeners who may have their own club, their own small studio, and are trying to do something similar.
Well, this came upon us so quickly, right? We saw it in the news, and I don't think anyone really believed it. And I don't think anyone really thought this would happen. I was maybe an early adapter that I'm like, no, this is real, and this is coming our way. And Melissa and I sat down, and she's so smart. She's so organized, and she really compliments me and my wild ideas. And I'm like, I really think we can do this. And she's like, oh, and she's more of the realist. And, and somewhere we meet in the middle, and it works. But so when this started coming down, we realized the first order of business was to take care of the employees of and we have a really unique status in the fitness business in that I was always taught that the employee model is just a better model than to have a bunch of independent contractors. And so to the trainers who are independent contractors, I'm sure that I really hope and pray that their clubs and their club ownerships are taking care of them to the best of their ability. And I would like to talk about that a little bit later because we all have different abilities. Not everybody is lifetime. The clubs that are really quite large and hopefully have some money in the bank, and they fall into a different category. We are all in different categories. So our ability to do that is in different waves. So we had to sit and really look hard at our finances because, as they say in the news now, we have to, as a business, live to fight another day. We have to preserve enough capital to come out of this and be able to reopen. At least in the club business at this juncture, and keep in mind we're only 5 days in, it feels to me like we might be in a little bit of a favorable position compared to a lot of the restaurants or the hair salons. They're gonna really hurt. And so we knew that the first thing we needed to do was really dig deep into our financials, make sure that we were doing everything we could possibly do to support our employees and give them the most sense of security that we were capable of. And that doesn't mean that they all feel secure, because they don't. They're terrified, and rightfully so. So from a leadership standpoint, we're doing everything we can do to support them emotionally and mentally and psychologically. Monetarily, we're doing everything we can do in the short term, and we kind of have to take it week by week. The second thing we really needed to do was, and so I guess in that order, we had to really look at our business hard and our financials hard. We had to see what we were able to do for our employees. And then third was we had to really reach out to our members and see what they were capable of doing, because our members are also going to hurt. This whole economy, this whole society, our whole community is going to feel this on different layers, and we still this is going to play out here in the next couple of weeks. So, we went to our members, and they're going to do what they can do to support us. They love us. They want us to live to fight another day, and they want us to reopen when we finally can. So they're going to do what they can do to support us, and then we're going to, we'll see how that comes out. That might be part 2 of our podcast.
This is my
RallySport.
Might be,
what actually happened?
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm coming live
to
do that one.
At. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to take that to the next step. So I saw you very early on being one of the first and potentially the only individual that I saw, the individual, the business owner, the fitness professional, just the person, the human, to offer to help to get groceries, to run errands, and basically just serve those with compromised immune systems or the inability to do it. And, I'm asking you to just, where'd that come from? You run a business.
I think that probably, yeah. But I have a good team around me, and I think that's what allows me to do the things and the creative things and the human things that I'm a little older, so I've been poor. I've sold my plasma to make $20 so I could go to the grocery store. I'm a dual citizen, so I've been through the immigration process and grown to truly love and appreciate the United States, even though I might not always agree with a lot of the things that are happening. But I love living here, and I think gratitude deserves payback when you have the ability to do it. And I think a lot of that comes from my father. I think Jack Carson, he's been gone for 13, 14 years now, but I think he taught me. He would have been the first one on the front lines to deliver a bag of groceries, keeping in mind that only 3 or 4 people really took me up on that. But it was, I think it really served as a good impetus for other people to start reaching out and realize that we needed to help each other. And it was early because I still think people might be in a state of disbelief. We're going to need to, we're all in this together,
Yeah, but it was just fantastic, a fantastic act of hope and gratitude, and I think, a role model for all of us. So I was impressed, and I was so very glad I know you.
No, thanks.
You made a statement and a PSA, public service announcement, about being careful right now about workouts, which I think is worth echoing to fitness professionals listening and to anybody who they've shared this with. There are so many choices, given all fitness pros are suddenly jumping online and offering workouts and plans. And, you gave a word of caution, and let's talk about that because it was great advice.
Yeah. I've had some really good mentors along the way, and we have to remember that my credential, my certification is from the National Strength and Conditioning Association. I believe in progression. I believe in periodization. I have learned a lot. I was alive and a trainer when we didn't lift stuff up and twist. That you just didn't rotate ever. That was so scary. And I can remember Dr. Mike Clark from the NASM when he was the director of that and owned it, saying, you know what, this is where people were getting hurt. And, all of a sudden he was the leader. He was a physical therapist, doctor of physical therapy, I believe. And he was like, okay, we need to influence the fitness professionals to teach people how to move better with better movement quality. And I remember my clients loving it. And it's easy as a young trainer to say, my clients love these crazy challenges, and they might, but I would challenge most of those, what I would consider crazy moves. Like I think standing on a BOSU ball with the dome side up isn't very smart. And that's because when I went to a clinic and listened to Gary Gray, he talked about foot position and eversion or inversion, actually turning off the glutes when most people want to turn the glutes on. We know that loading into the big toe turns the glutes on. Well, how are you supposed to load into the big toe when you're standing on a BOSU ball or a stability ball, even crazier? So I think that as an industry, or, we start to learn things from other facets of wellness, like physical therapists using unstable surfaces. Well, an AirX pad is plenty unstable. But then we decided to take these pillows that we're supposed to sit on as core challenges and stuff, and we're trying to stand on stuff we can never stabilize. And that's not very smart either, because your brain is constantly searching for stability and you never get there. So I really, I believe in fundamentals. I believe in simple. I believe in breathing. I believe that less is actually more in most cases. You're a specialist in fitness after 50, and, you could even pull that back, that we need to teach people in their 40s beautiful techniques so we can load them heavy in the safest possible way to develop muscle, to maintain strength. It's really one of those things that I just believe in the fundamentals. And I do believe if you're good and you're a seasoned fitness professional, you can make really boring stuff really exciting. So yeah. There was somebody with one of my other trainers shared a picture with me offline, and she just like, how about this one? And it was somebody doing I had two actually. One was somebody was doing push-ups on wine bottles. Well, you only have to know one person. Yeah, you only have to know one person who broke the wine bottle under their hand, and they severed arteries in their hands. And I'm like, why are you even putting that on the internet? That's just silly. I get that you're trying to be funny, but somebody will do that, and that's tragic. And so there's just, oh God, and let alone speed of movement. I mean, it can take me months to get people to move quickly in an organized, safe way. Well, now you got people, doing old school aerobics that they haven't done in a long, long time, trying to keep up with somebody on the TV because they want to help you keep fit. And I think the intention is there. It's very good, but at the same time, you're going to hurt people. They're chasing stress with stress, and it's too much stress, and it's just too much. And if we were talking more than anything, like right now, we're all very, very anxious. We're very tight. The last thing we need is hard training. We need breathing. Yeah. We need stretching. We need Pilates. We need, gentle Pilates. We need gentle things. And we can ramp back up, midweek next week. I would say I'm going to be probably back in a place where I want to train hard again. But, gentle things are going to be what helps us.
Agreed. We all need to come back to what's going to boost your immune system at this moment, what's going to bust it.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's also a little, and maybe you've hinted at this already, but you've hinted at this behind the scenes with me, that there's an integrity issue out there. You're seeing, as we're seeing all of these things climb out of the internet and online, and everybody is we're showing our warts, right? So whoever we are under times of stress is potentially whoever we are.
Right.
But talk a little bit about the integrity issue among trainers.
I think it comes from a place of fear, and I think that I own a club, and before I owned a club, I worked at the same club, and I have actually always been a trainer that has enjoyed the club experience, and I'm always going to. That's not going to change. I like people, and I like being face to face. And I've always been treated really fairly. I think what we're going to see is this little bit of shakeup. We need to get back to where maybe trainers don't feel like they have to go open their own studio or do things behind the scenes in order to make the kind of money that will get them a fuller life. They shouldn't be afraid. If you have children, you need to save for their college. And if you can be a fitness professional and do that at the same time, wouldn't that be nice? And I think clubs have gotten very greedy. And I'm very proud to say that that's never been my MO. I've always seen my trainers as a facilitating security and a membership base, not as a big line item of profit. The trainers have never been a big profit center for us. And I think, and I hope that as we come forward out of this, that some of the clubs learn that just because they're making $50 an hour doesn't mean that's a living wage, So I think it will take some time, and I don't know, whether it will happen or not, but those are the conversations that I'm going to pursue and that I want to push so that trainers don't have to have, in Boulder, these guys are paying $3,000 to $5,000 a month in rent at a studio. They're independent contractors. So, looking at the ramifications right now in the state of Colorado, that means they can't even apply for unemployment if you're an independent contractor, So I would really hope to see clubs kind of maybe hitting the reset button on how trainers fit into their line items, how trainers fit into their financials, and we would take more pride in the fact that our staff is doing well financially, and then in turn we get to do well. If win-wins are way more fun.
Yeah, love that philosophy. Okay, here. I'm going to be an interviewee's nightmare, so be ready.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm going to ask you to speculate, which is dangerous, and yet, I think by doing it, we may help any trainers listening. I mean, you and I together, God, I hate to tell the number of years of experience we have, but a lot. So we've seen a lot. We've seen the fitness industry grow up, strength and conditioning and personal training grow up. What do you think that this period in history will do for the fitness industry? We're all going to be changed from this. So how do you think in the fitness industry, let's bring it down to even individual trainers, how will trainers be impacted by this? And then the follow-up question is, in the end, how will that affect consumers?
Oh, gosh.
I told you I'd be ready.
Yeah, no, it's a brilliant question because we're still so early. I think we're going to lose. I think a lot of the studios are going to shut it down. And these guys need places to go, and they need safe places to land, and they need an earning opportunity. And I hope that if I was a fitness professional who owned a studio right now, and I had 5 or 6 of us sharing, 800 to 1,200 square feet, I would see that as a very powerful small group of fitness professionals. And I would like those groups of fitness professionals to kind of band together and come together as a group, and maybe even 2 or 3 different studios start talking. And I will tell you that even I have done that. I'm in Boulder. I have reached out to 5 different studios and 2 different club owners, and I have meetings set up over the next 2 weeks to sit down and just have coffee with these guys. How can we come out of this stronger? Can we band together? Can we serve our communities in a stronger and a more efficient way? Can we decrease some of our overhead and risk by coming together? I don't know if it's possible, but I will tell you that if a group of 10 trainers came to me and they said, we want to work with you. We want to work at RallySport, and here's what we're thinking would be a fair way to do that. I am listening with open ears, and they're not coming at me. I'm going to actually go to them and say, okay, here's what you have. You have, 200 clients, and I would love it if you would come to RallySport. How can I set up a structure that allows you to earn what you want to earn and enjoy your experience? I'm not going to, I have a little bit of a relaxed personality, so I think I'm relatively easy to work for, but some people might beg to differ on that.
You're extremely easy to work for.
Yeah, so I think that would be a really good idea, and I think trainers banding together, you're a powerful group. We are a powerful group, and our clients love us. So they tend to have, what are clubs always after? Retention. Well, the number one way, we've proven it year after year after year. The number one retention tool you have is, they say, the more they pay, the longer they stay. So that's because they see the value. They're going to write a bigger check every month, and personal training clients are the ones that do that. So that's my big idea that I'm passing on to your audience, is to get all the trainers together in your community. Get all the trainers together. Heck yeah. Don't be intimidated by each other. Don't push each other away. And the ones that you do want to push away, they're not ready to do group. They're not ready to be part of a bigger organization. You don't want them. If they want to sit down and have a group chat, then you want them. But if they're like, oh no, because you're going to steal my clients, you're going to steal my ideas. We all steal each other's ideas. We all steal each other's clients. It is what it is, guys. Like, what's going to take you further down the road? And so that would be my hope. That's what I'm going to seek out. I'm going to go try and find 8 to 10 new trainers to bring into my business, treat them very well, and hopefully their clients will become my members.
Awesome. Collaboration, communication, open up the discussion. I love that. Okay, so I want to bring it around to you. So not to mention all of the kudos and the professional background, you are also an age group athlete, an elite age group athlete. And you alluded to, next week, maybe as we kind of get our feedback under us again and feel a little bit more solid about, at least knowing we don't know where things are going, but maybe feel like we can weather this and we'll be good, you'll return to workouts that are a little more challenging. So how are you personally buffing up your immune system? What are you doing to take care of you?
Well, I'm really lucky because I try to surround myself with some of the smartest people possible, and I am lucky. So I'm already on a pretty good supplement program with magnesium, a good clean protein, anti-inflammation strategies with fruits and vegetables, and a lot of green stuff. I made an amazing green smoothie today, and I think the number one thing for me is I have to get back to the point where I can sleep 6 to 7 hours at a stretch. So here's my really cool little shout out, and I can be accessed on social media really easily through EC Fit Boulder on Instagram. I don't use my EC Fit Boulder Facebook that much, but if anybody would like a discount code for an Oura ring, OURA. That ring is like a Whoop band, the sleep tracker, the step tracker that everybody's wearing on their wrists. I don't like sleeping with anything on my wrist, but I will wear a ring. So the Oura ring, I've become friends with them. I think their technology is top notch, and it's giving me daily data on my sleep. And I also don't like wearing an Apple Watch to sleep, so that's kind of out as well, or Garmin. So the Oura Ring has been a really good tool for me. So I wake up in the morning, I know when I've slept well or not slept well, but sometimes it'll just reinforce that I'm actually ready to train. It shows heart rate variability. I use heart rate variability for myself to make sure that I'm truly resting. Measuring heart rate variability first thing in the morning. I was doing that for a while without the ring. And, you move around a little bit. You have no idea how long your heart rate has actually been variable. So I need to make sure that I'm resting really well again, and I'm not right now. So that'll be the first thing. Hopefully that'll come back here in the next 5 or 6 days. And then I'll start getting back to my coached workouts. I did realize this winter that, especially at my age, I'm just over 50, that exercise is really different than training. So all through the winter, I was exercising. I was like, okay, I'm going to go to this spin class, and then I'm going to go ride my bike, and I'm going to go for a run, and I'm going to lift some weights. And I was exercising. And I was like, I was fit, and I didn't put on too much weight, and I felt pretty good. And then I went back, and my coach was like, okay, are you ready to get back to training? And I'm like, yeah, okay, no problem. And 2 weeks into training, I'm like, holy crap, this is different. And that is, training is progressive overload. Training is your coach artistically giving you just a little bit more than you can handle when on the days that you should try to do that. So I'm not, my poor coach, he's so patient. I'm probably not really training right now, but I'm really looking forward to get back into my structured training program because it brings me a lot of psychological and emotional comfort to follow the plan. So hopefully we do a lot of walking right now. We're walking the dog, and he's so funny. Or I'm babysitting a 2.5-year-old, Tim O'Donnell and Miranda Carfrey's little girl. Izzy and I are really good friends, and I get to hang out with her, and I just focus 100% on her when I'm with her. So that's super fun.
She cracks me up. She's so adorable.
Yeah. So we get to, that's such a pleasure. Spending time with children is really, really stress relieving, actually, for me.
That is awesome. Okay, final question here is, think about the headspace where trainers and or small studio owners, is there a question that I should have asked you, we should have covered that we didn't?
I've never owned a small studio, so I don't know what their challenges are. I think there's a level of contentment and happiness that they get because they have less moving parts than a club. RallySport is 40,000 square feet, to give it context. Studios are typically from anywhere from 500 to 2,000 square feet. And beyond that, you might just start getting into more of the membership model, a little bit more classes and stuff like that. So I don't know what their challenges are. I would love to hear what they struggle with, if anything. I don't know. I really don't know what they do and what their pain points are. But I do know that I think they're probably I don't know, because our consumer is changing, and I guess that's where Deborah would kind of foray into what our consumer is thinking right now. If you look here in Boulder, because all the clubs are closed, everyone is currently buying and putting in gyms in their homes. They're buying dumbbells, they're buying barbells, they're buying Peloton bikes, they're doing all of these things. That we're now not only going to compete against each other out in the market, we're also going to compete against their level of success that they may or may not have in the next 60 days working out in their basement. Will they come back to trainers, or will they be like, well, you know what, I got this online thing going and I'm okay now. Yeah. I don't need to go spend $100 an hour, So this is going to be fascinating. And our customer is also going to have some financial pain. You know, I think it will take a couple years to come back to the numbers that we were at pre this. So I'm guessing that we have to come together as small businesses and collaborate, and we have to think of ways that we can work together to decrease our overhead. I would love to bring fitness professionals more together. I don't like how fragmented it feels. I don't like seeing little personal training studios popping up in every mini mall. You know, it bothers me. I just don't like it. Yeah. And I think that we can learn from each other as fitness professionals in settings that are collaborative. I think we deliver a better product. I would also really hope that our customer takes time, and I think you'll see this through my social media postings, like, who are you following? What do they know? Like, it's sad for me and my staff and people like you that we spend all of this time and energy and money on continuing education and credentials and seeking out smart information and reading research, that somebody can just get a weekend on internet certification and because they're fun and an extrovert have 25 clients. You know, it's or you know. So I agree. I would love to see a shift to where our customer says to us and holds us accountable as an industry and as a group of professionals. You know, when was the last time? Is your credential even current? You know, that matters. It should matter. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter, and I want it to matter. So we should all want it to matter. I have never let my CSCS lapse, not even close. I have been a certified strength and conditioning specialist since 1998. Now, I just aged myself, dated myself there, but that, my senior year, 1988, 89. It was my senior year, my fifth year at the University of Colorado. I took a class and got that credential. And in every 3 years, you have to do a lot of continuing education that they check. Yeah. They want to. Yeah, it's funny. That's one of the things I can remember you saying that rings in my ear. I remember you saying, don't let that lapse, because that's a hard one to get back. Yeah, such a hard test, right?
It is a hard test.
So, yeah.
Back to what you were just talking about with the consumer, just ironically or not, right, there's no accidents, but yesterday doing research for a book I'm writing or was supposed to be writing, it's probably not important right now, on marketing to women, there was a study done in 2011 by a woman named Deanna Melton, and it was about women's perspectives on personal training. And, they looked at 4 different factors, but one of them was, how important is like the education and the knowledge base. Well, it was like the 4th thing. It wasn't very important, and most of the advisory panel people were shocked to know that everybody wasn't certified. They just assumed that everyone with the label personal trainer was certified and qualified to be doing what they're doing and did continuing education regularly. They assumed there was some kind of licensure or control. They were shocked to know that there wasn't.
Exactly. Okay, I'll call you.
So, there we go. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Deborah, you're doing great work. And thank you. Yeah, and thank you for everything you're doing to make us all better and more credible.
Well, I'm sure we'll have the opportunity to come back to this if I can get a hold of you again. So, listeners, I'm going to leave it to you. If there's a question that you do have or a concern that you've got that we may address in an upcoming podcast, I mean, we are all in this together. We're in this territory. None of us knew how to prepare for or knows necessarily what's tomorrow. So leave your question below the show notes at fitnessmarketingmastery.com/future of fitness. and those are dashed between it, future dash of dash fitness. And until then, make a difference and look up. The future is going to be okay. You just need to pivot.